So on Sunday, I fell and skidded along the pavement in front of 300 bikers. It was a horrible, humiliating jolt in which I cut both of my hands, took a chunk of skin off my right elbow, despite wearing a jumper and a padded motorbike jacket, and landed heavily on my already arthritic knee, which then swelled up to the size of a small football. Now, my partner wanted to take me home, but I insisted on continuing because I wasn't going to allow it to become a thing, if you know what I mean. And I'm 68, but I didn't trip because I'm old and frail. Oh, no. It was because I was wearing a pair of Doc Marten boots my daughter-in-law had given to me. And they have this kind of rim, this kind of edge around them, which I'm not used to. And so I probably wasn't picking my feet up properly. And I was running, well, I was limping rapidly. The pavement I hurtled along was really rough and bumpy. But strangely enough, the glass bottle of water I was carrying flew through the air ahead of me and merely bounced when it hit the ground and received only a scratch. So it fared much better than I did, which I found quite amazing. Anyway, let's have a little recap. So I already had a swollen arthritic knee, and I am on an NHS waiting list for a joint replacement, which was initially 2 years long. Now, I can't afford several £1,000s to have the op privately, as is the case with most people, isn't it? So it is what it is. Now, it had already started to become more stiff and painful in the previous weeks, but I was managing it. But now I'm really not certain about what to expect once this swelling subsides, if it does subside. And this is probably where you're going to say, what? When you hear what I'm about to say, you will probably lose all sympathy for me if you had any. But on the other hand, you might also understand. So I'm a kickboxer. I am currently second dan, around 21 minutes away from taking third dan. I had a hip replacement in 2022 and I was back at the dojo within weeks, though obviously I had to be really careful. My hip's absolutely fine now. But then the opposite knee started playing up and I just kept going. And then this happened. I had been hoping to get through the next 2 years somehow with the dodgy knee, achieve third dan and my 70th birthday, which would both occur within days of each other, and then maybe be at the top of the queue for a new knee. That was my plan. And as they say, the plans of mice and men. So you are either going to consider me my own worst enemy or you're going to admire my tenacity. But here is something that you might understand if you're of a similar age. There's more to lose for us. If we give up and give in, we will go downhill quicker than I shot along that pavement on my front. And that's a terrifying thought. I've managed to get this far, being the oldest and the shortest in the class, and not carrying as much bulk as some of the other ladies, which really does help in kickboxing. It does help to have some bulk. But it isn't just about my body. It's imperative for my mental and emotional state too. And I love the atmosphere there. We ladies have a lot of laughs whilst we are getting on with it. The guys do tend to be a bit more serious. And it is my eldest daughter's business, though that doesn't cut me any slack, by the way. So if I had to give it up for good, I would be devastated. But you know, we oldies tend to have a lot of tenacity and resilience. Well, you know, many of us do. And we're trying to make the time we have left in this world really count for us. So I admit, I was pretty downhearted after it happened. I really was. But I did count my blessings. Because, you know, I could have broken a bone. I've never broken a bone in my life. Or my nose, or chipped my teeth. So it could have been so much worse. I attended the minor injuries unit at our nearest small hospital the following day. An x-ray revealed that nothing was broken, and then they were keen to send me on my way with a bit of a shrug. So yeah, I got a little bit shirty because I wanted to know why the knee was so swollen. and if any further damage had been done internally on top of the already existing damage. But they couldn't answer that. They're not equipped at a small injuries unit, or minor injuries unit, I should say. So yesterday I saw the nurse practitioner at our local GP office, and she said, look, you'll just have to allow the swelling to go down. And basically that's it. Because I'm already on the list, even if there's no improvement, there is no fast track. You just have to put up with it regardless of how it impacts your life until your turn comes around. She said that she has patients who are now so bad that they're in a wheelchair and crying because they can no longer walk. There are other people who are waiting for heart treatment and who are struggling to breathe, and they're still on the list. So that put my issue firmly into perspective. And it's not her fault, of course, and she was actually really nice. It is just how the system is now. So some would say that I'm an idiot to consider continuing with kickboxing and that I deserve what I get, which is probably true. But you know, I'm not going down that pathway unless I really, really have to. I might not be able to kick for a while, but I can certainly punch, and I can lift weights and, do other things. And after having spoken with a nurse practitioner, I thought, right, okay, get your big girl pants on and accept it for what it is and keep going. I understand the bottom line now. It is what it is. And fighting against it will only make me feel more miserable. So I accept that I'm going to be in constant pain for quite some time now. The pain levels go up, they come down, but there's always pain and discomfort. I will continue with my supplements. I'll do exercises that I'm able to do, and all of the other stuff such as ice, elevation, anti-inflammatories, and wearing a knee brace, which I've got on now. Oh, and also healing meditations can't hurt. And I'm making myself walk as normally as possible rather than dragging my leg along like an old tree stump, which was what I was doing even yesterday. Otherwise I'm putting strain on other joints, and I really can't afford that. So the upshot is, getting older does come with challenges, and we have got to fight against becoming consumed by them. I have to work harder than anyone else in class because of natural aging effects, pain and stiffness. But that is my choice. It is my choice. Having said that, my fitness and stamina is better than a lot of the younger ones. Plus, we oldies, we have stubbornness and staying power on our side. Anyway, I thought that I'd share that little drama with you, and I intend to produce further videos on life from a 68-year-old's perspective. Maybe nobody will tune in, and it will just be me ranting into the ether. But hopefully, if you are still with me, you might check in again at some point. So bye for now. And for goodness sake, don't go falling over.